What would you do for money? What would you do for power? What would you do for fame? Would you kill for it? Now, I'm sure the majority of us would adamantly answer no to this, and to those of you who'd answer differently, y'all can go ahead and self-report. But the rest of us are in agreement. Murder is unacceptable. So, what if I change the question? How far would you go to protect someone you loved? How far would you go to ensure their safety? If someone came and threatened to take away your life with them, just how far would you go? Would you kill them? Sentenced to death, Gabimaru the Hollow solemnly believes that he deserves to die. Raised in a village of assassins, Gabimaru's life knew nothing other than calculated murder. Snuffing out the lives of both the wicked and the saints, he found no meaning in continuing the forced will of wanting to live. So, faced with the executioner towering above him, he bows his head with contempt, hoping that his death will do more good for the world than his existence could. He then readies himself, anticipating when the blade meets his nape. However, every attempt to execute him had failed. Beheading, burnt at the stake, dismemberment, and death by cauldron were all ineffective. But finally, a fledgling member of a famed executioner clan was then asked to take the life of the young man. Yet, she made no moves to kill him. No. After watching his execution, she insisted the only reason why this man will not die is because he simply refuses to do so. Elaborating that, Gabimaru's refusal to die stems from his kindling love for his wife. As long as she still breathes, his body will continue to deny death. So, instead she offers him the chance to obtain a full pardon for all his crimes. Only if he can manage to travel to the island of Shinsokyo, obtain the elixir of life, and return it to the shogun. Then, and only then, will his freedom be assured. However, of the numerous people who have journeyed the region in pursuit of the elixir, not a single person has returned sound in mind, if at all. Though unaware of the numerous danger that awaits him, Gabimaru decides to accept the offer, all in the hope that he and his wife will finally live a life of peace. A newborn Gabimaru wasn't unacquainted with the sickly, sweet aroma of death. Having lost both of his parents to the bloody hands of the chieftain, he had no choice in what kind of life he'd be able to pursue. Nor did his parents. Overwhelmed by the practices of the village and not wishing for such a fate to befall their child, they planned to abandon the village in search of a peaceful life, not accounting for the chieftain's many eyes and ears who lurk in the shadows. Now pay attention, guys, Now pay attention, guys, because this is a recurring theme. Foreshadowing. Okay, I'm done playing around. Okay. Though, having been spared from the massacre, Gabimaru was subjected to torturous and rigorous training. Corroding both the young man's mind and heart, they set to strip away any of what little humanity he had left, conditioning him into believing that strength sits above all. For that is a fate that befalls those who were unfortunate enough to be born in the Akikawa village. 16 years Gabimaru has served as Ikigari's most infamous shinobi, earning the title Gabimaru the Hollow. That was until he had been rewarded with the hand of the chieftain's 8th daughter, Yuri. Gabimaru's heart began to melt ever so slowly, sounding the bells of his downfall. Listening to her dreams of normalcy, following her customs though never understanding them, and believing in her words when she says he is more than what they make him out to be. Though he was seen as a monster by society, Yuri saw past it and presented him with the kindness and love that he had never gotten to experience in his life. And as the days went by, Gabimaru embraced his married life with Yuri and wanted to give her the peaceful life she so desperately desired by requesting the village chief that he may abandon his duties as a shinobi. However, like Yuri, Gabimaru was severely punished for, in the eyes of the chief, such a ridiculous act. And it was this very act of selflessness that had landed him in the cold embrace of the authorities. A stark contrast to the ruthless aura he carries, his wife brought out the more human aspect of him. Her hopes, dreams, and aspirations, her ideals shined brightly in the inky darkness that suffocated his heart. Affectionate and tender, her love knew no bounds. Her teachings of the value of life, peace, and tranquility shaped his inner moral compass, painting a complex character study of a man torn between his yearning for a peaceful life, all while haunted by the ghosts of his vicious past. All for his wife, he betrayed the only life he ever known, being that it was his wife that opened his eyes to a slew of possibilities that he once believed were impossible for him, showing him that there was so much more to himself than what he had been taught. How do you repay such a debt? How do you repay such an innocent and warm act of kindness? Well, Gabimaru's idea of repayment is when he says, "My own life takes top priority and I'm not planning to die. My whole goal is to survive and make it home to my wife. I'm not about to lay down my life, but I'll sacrifice whatever it takes otherwise. My ideals, reasons, sense, even my humanity." Gabimaru's character is such a fascinating study of contradictions. He is a hardened shinobi searching for peace, a ruthless killer motivated by a deep sense of love, and a man who values life above all despite his brutal upbringing. His motives, shaped by the teachings of both his wife and the village chief, created a complicated and multifaceted protagonist who must constantly balance the fine line between violence and peace, love and duty, betrayal and atonement. And what stands out about him is his ideology about taking the life of another. He'd rather not kill unless the situation calls for it, then he'll do it without hesitation, but will always carry the guilt of doing so. Unlike Sagari, his executioner, who struggles every time the moment comes to take a life. While dedicated in her duties as both a samurai and an executioner, Sakari lacks the mental state to take a life without putting any fear or hesitation into her blade, a flaw that she is criticized for constantly by her clansmen. However, upon analyzing Gabimaru's behavior after watching him kill, Sakari learned from him that she must bear the weight of the lives she has taken, like the shinobi does, and accept her fear and doubt instead of trying to overcome it like her clan had taught her to do so. And this contrast between their characters play a pivotal role within the narrative, challenging the other's point of view whilst evolving amidst unparalleled odds. These characters are frantically trying to free themselves from the shackles of ideals and responsibilities that had been forced upon them their entire lives. Though the chieftain represents an extreme point of view, and Yuri represents a peaceful one, Sakari surprisingly, in more ways than one, embodies the middle path. In the absence of his wife, Sakari becomes the source of weakness Gabimaru needs throughout his encounters. Yet what sets her apart is that she can also exhibit a strength surpassing his own when required. And because of her, Gabimaru realizes he needs weakness in his life, if not more than strength. The very fact that he can feel emotions is a consistent focal point within the story, showing signs of breaking away from the teachings of his village. Zachary promised that if he was able to face his emotions while reclaiming his life, then she will support him throughout his journey. In return, he vows to provide her a pillar of strength to her resolve of growing into a fine samurai. And because of their mutual support, they are both able to find strength within weakness. In conclusion, after all we've learned about Gabimaru, what's the lesson that we can take away from this? Well, the moral is that instead of walking down the path of light and dark, left or right, in search of the right choices, Hell's Paradise brings its audience to a middle ground where the key to unlocking one's true self, in this case Tao, rests on finding one's inner balance. Though the majority of us lack the motivation or conviction to practice, I still challenge you to try. Even when the world feels like it's crumbling around you, take a moment, breathe, and pay attention to those who really bring joy and purpose into your life. Because it is those same people who you'll put everything on the line for in order to protect. Those same people who you are willing to kill for. Boom. This is fun. Alright. I don't know how to end it, but I think that's a good ending. Yeah?
Nope. Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
Hey, what the fuck? How are you alive? Why is my background music stop playing?
Yeah, all that. I'ma need that. Run that. Don't just stand there!
What the fuck is this? This isn't talk no jutsu. No, this is plot armor.